Today's topic is about how to deal with challenging relationship, and I have to admit that I am very passionate about the subject because I have been through mismanagement of my expectations more times than I care to count. But like everything else in my life, I have learned from it, and by doing so I am now better at managing it. So if you are someone who want to be free from all sorts of headache and heartache that comes from difficult relationships or people in general not meeting your expectations, pay attention, because here I'm going to share with you 3 effective approaches that you can use when managing difficult relationships, as well as a bonus on how to grow from each experience. My tip number 1 to manage difficult relationships is to manage your expectation. See, what I have learned about expectations from way too many struggles with friends, colleagues, and most of all family is this. Often expect people to behave and act the same way we would act if we were in their position. We already have an exact expectation set on precisely how we want things to get done. And God forbid if those people didn't measure up, heck, nothing could save them from the hell they have to pay through our frustration and disappointment, not to mention the disappointment and hurt we put on ourselves. I recently and personally went through this after locking horn with some family members, which I knew that my expectations weren't that high to begin with. Just some basic human courtesy, decency, and respect. But still, they weren't able to meet them up as basic as they were. I won't bore you with the details, but having been through similar situations so many times, I was able to access and recognize the situation for what it was and adjust some of my expectation in order to maintain my peace of mind and sanity. And boy, do I feel free every time. So my tip number 1 is what? Remove your expectation and realize that everyone is not you. Stop expecting them to behave in the same manner as you, and know that it's not you being a pushover, because there is a huge difference between giving people allowances and being a doormat. My tip number 2 is do not lose your faith in humanity. Listen, I consider myself a very nice person and I work at it consciously and continuously. But there has been more times than one where I come across people who take my kindness for weakness, my generosity for stupidity. If I give them my hand, they want to take my whole arm. That I understand how disheartening it is when dealing with such people or situations, and that it can threaten your resolve. But Gandhi said it beautifully: you must not lose your faith in humanity, for humanity is like an ocean. If a few drops of the ocean are dirty, the ocean does not become dirty. So for me, I always remember that, and for you, I encourage you to do the same when managing your relationship, because I promise that will make a massive difference. And finally, my tip number 3 is know when to cut your losses, because if you keep modifying your expectation, keep having faith in humanity and constantly checking your ego at the door, but you keep encountering resistance at every point, this is where to cut your losses and remove yourself completely from the situation, no matter what, and love that person from far. Because remember, negativity is a transferable, and the only way you can make sure that it's not transferred to you is to cut clean break and remove your situation from the source. Depending on the individual and the circumstance, of course, you can keep them as close or as far away as you want, depending on the level of toxicity they bring into your life. But all in all, key ingredients when managing difficult relationships are: manage your expectations, make sure that your ego is not getting the best of you, always remember to have faith on humanity, give people allowances even if they don't deserve it, But if nothing works, well, it is time to say goodbye and love that person from far. And my bonus tip is to remember to use whatever emotion they invoke in you to your own growth. Anything you could have done to change the situation, or whether the situation could have been helped. But most important, what did you learn from this? Because it is comforting to think that it's all someone else's fault in failings, but that's also almost always inaccurate. Comment below to let me know your thoughts. How do you deal with difficult relationships and difficult people? I want to hear from you. And of course, don't forget to hit the subscribe and notification button so you can be the first person to get notified when I upload a new video next.